Hello everybody, Ella Gobla's here, and I've come to say all hail Sol Invictus, and this is the Generic Lucky Shoe Podcast.
Praise the sun.
Praise the sun.
So did you guys know that was racist?
Hey.
We're blocking out these names.
Yeah,
this name. We're totally doing it. But yeah, I didn't know that.
Is that someone from high school?
Yeah.
Apparently he said something like, he thinks all black people are like, wait, what was it exactly? You remember?
I'm pretty sure it was like all black people are lazy.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
They're
That's
all lazy.
Somebody told us this recently, like yesterday or something.
Yo, I tell you, half our school was communist and half our school was fascist. And then there's like that.
Where were
there's
we?
like weird 2%. Okay, yeah. 49% was communist, 49% was fascist, and then there's this weird 2% that nobody quite liked.
I think I'd be in the communist section if
it was 50-50.
Yeah, I think I would be there. I was kind of a stupid hipster.
Marcus definitely was.
You were
definitely in that.
I was definitely more on that side.
You were definitely
that's
more.
what I think is. I think I'm on the spectrum.
I definitely hung out with the communist crowd. Like I actually loved them unironically. It was so fun because they were all huge potheads. And they'd run around like the vending machines. We called them vendies.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yep,
they would just get stoned and talk about communism, and it was hilarious. It was such a stereotype.
Did anyone go full red pilled and say like the Holodomor didn't happen?
No, I don't think anyone knew what that was, John. I don't know what that is.
It's a big famine that happened in Ukraine during the Soviet Union.
Never happened.
Yeah, it never happened because Stalin never did anything wrong.
No, he didn't.
No, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
you can't even say that with a straight face. You're a fake fucking.
I'm sorry.
Are you? It turns out undercover?
It turns out one of the rightists that Mao was purging.
God damn it!
I got away.
How did you survive the purge? Damn it!
Very careful.
Yeah, I remember
100 stealth, man. You can pass anything.
In AP government, we had to sit with our political party, and I didn't give two shits about politics in high school. I still don't, but But I intentionally wanted to sit next to Marcus, so I answered how I usually would, except for answered two things Democratic, and I got like slightly Democratic on my sheet and said, "Look, I'm Democratic." And I sat at the part because we sat at the part with the most Democratic part in the entire room, and we slept in that row.
Yep, we slept front seat of the class.
Yes, front seat.
Glorious. I think we've talked about this, but the teacher had a package. Let me tell you.
He either had a massive dick or he had a half hard on always.
Or he wore a nut cup.
Yeah,
something was going on.
Well, it could have been both, yeah. Or he could be wearing a nut cup. I don't know. All I know is he like slammed my desk to wake me up, and all I saw was that.
That was great.
It was a very nice way to wake up.
You know, it's pretty interesting that you remember that.
Yes.
How would you not remember that?
Okay, I slept so often in that class, I did not know what our topic was. So, for example, like the Supreme Court, we had a entire unit on the Supreme Court. I came in the day of the test and went, "Hey guys, what are we doing?" It's like, "We're having a test." Wait, we have a test? Yeah. What's the subject? We're doing the Supreme Court. We've been doing it for the past 4 weeks.
That's a good class. It was it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I got a B out of it. And that was AP.
I think I did too, actually.
Okay, if you're a college level class and I can get a B out of you while doing nothing and sleeping, you're not college level class.
I think most of the grade was a project.
It was.
Well. Yeah, it was literally like basically walk around, fuck me. It was basically just walk around Minneapolis for 2 hours.
That project was
and then
a
write
joke,
a report
if I remember correctly, because everybody just linked all the stuff to actually finish and pass it.
I actually went to Minneapolis and walked around all the government buildings.
I know you did, because you went with me. We went together.
And we went to the restaurant for extra credit, and it was a good restaurant.
Are you guys talking about CP?
AP Gov.
Yeah.
I thought for Gov we had to do the thing where we had to figure out all of our state's representatips.
Oh, we did that too. We did that too.
That's just a Google.
Yeah. That was the Facebook group that we had with AP, CP, apps or whatever it was called.
I never got included in that.
I didn't either.
I didn't do anything, and all of a sudden I just see somebody release this whole folder, and then everybody commenting, "Oh, thank you, saved us." Blah, blah, blah,
it was actually really difficult to finding every single government employee position. There was a ton of them.
Yeah, so somebody just cheat sheeted it. And copied it off.
And I copied it, and it was great. And he didn't put the due dates.
Dude, no, he didn't.
He didn't. I thought it was due after winter break. No, it was due 2 months later.
That class is so stupid.
I don't think he ever told you either. He'd be like,
"It's on the website."
He'd say it's on the website, and then you'd be like, well, you better just have it done when it's ready.
Yeah, it's like, and the website was so awful.
He'd be purposely
I remember him saying very clearly,
Moodle, dude.
Oh fuck.
The age of
brutal.
Moodle.
Like, dude, I remember him saying very clearly that if you don't work this hard, if you don't do this type of stuff, you'll fail in college. I remember him saying that. And my professors were so helpful, so fucking helpful with all my stupid fucking questions.
Oh, yeah.
That I asked them. Literally, I'd ask them the dumbest questions. Be like, is this shit due tomorrow? I would email them that. And they would be like, yeah, John's due tomorrow. Do you need more time? Yes. Okay, sounds good. Get it to me the next day.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And for my seminar paper, I literally walked up to this guy 2 months before the topic and the project was due. I had the whole semester to do it. I walked up to say, I need help finding a topic. He sat down with me on Wikipedia and helped me find a fucking topic.
Nice.
And then he sat there and went, okay, so these books look like good ones. Listen, use Wikipedia. It's going to help you find some shit. And then after that, I went out, found a topic. He let me turn that shit in with the other stuff I was supposed to turn in prior. Like, people were so fucking helpful. And this guy sitting here like, no, they're not going to do shit for you. You got to figure it all out. You got to do this.
No, that's high school. That's legit high school.
Yep.
Like, high school, they're that way because they're useless.
My Calc 2 prof, I came in like the day before an exam, and I was like, if I take this exam tomorrow, I'm going to fail it. Like, I was just honest. And she was like, well, the point of an exam is to help the student gauge their knowledge of the material. You seem like you have a pretty good gauge of your knowledge of the material. I'm like, yes, I do. And she was like, you can take it next week. Nice.
Mad. Oh, I love that, dude. Yeah, that's happened to me so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I think the thing they're trying to teach you is that you just need to communicate.
And you need to learn because this shit, some of it's hard.
Yeah.
Some of it's really hard.
It's like being able to just understand yourself and be able to be willing to be proactive about stuff you fucked up, I guess.
Guess who didn't learn any of that in college?
That guy?
I mean, you did. Yeah, you did.
Not really.
What are you talking about?
I still was turning things in the day before and doing them the day before.
But you talked to them.
You did, like, fess up about it. Not so much.
I didn't tell him that, oh, I didn't study for your exam. When did you study for my exam? The day of?
Well,
wait, like 5 hours ago? Yeah, 5 hours ago.
You don't have to say that. It's more so that you tell them, like, I need more time.
No. I just did it in 5 hours and said, this is good enough. I'm taking the fucking exam. And I took the exam.
I mean, cram studying is always a thing. I did that all the time, too.
I did that so many times. I did that for a couple papers, though. I did ask, like, hey,
I did that
I got depressed.
freshman year, and then I discovered that everything's a lot better if you just do it ahead of time.
Yeah, but I'm lazy.
Yeah, but it lets you be more lazy.
The best part is that I think we all have a consensus on working ahead is actually super nice, emotionally gratifying, stabilizing, and just beneficial in almost any way. But yet, Raj and I have I've done it a couple times, and I could see, like, straight up, this is a fantastic idea. Like, I remember there was a couple times I studied with Raj, like, in the library. And those times that we studied were the most fulfilling, best study sessions, hardest working stuff I've ever done in a while. Was I'm just sitting there like, I got all my shit done. It's like, my shit is done. I could actually, like, work on next week.
I didn't do a single bit of that in undergrad. I have done it in graduate school. To be fair, I have started working earlier on graduate school, but I think my professors have a different idea of what, my advisors especially have a different idea of what it means to work early than I do, because I was like, okay, I have 2 weeks to start and finish this paper. I've been kind of working on it on and off with my advisors a little bit, but I have like 2 weeks to really get this done and solve it. And when I was talking to them later, it's like, oh yeah, you did a lot in 2 weeks. You got this done in 2 weeks. That was like, that was a real time crunch. And I went, yeah, it was a time crunch. I started 2 weeks ago. I usually start 2 days before it's due or a day before it's due. This is like
proper shit.
This is like I thought that I was doing a really good job, and they're like, oh yeah, you really crammed a lot in. I didn't cram shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Wait, this isn't even what studying ahead of time is?
This is not studying.
Oh, no.
I'm screwed.
It's just constant work, it seems like.
It is. Well, it depends. Like my advisor at Iowa State, so my undergrad advisor, this is how he said he was studying for his tests. He would take 2 days before the test. He would study the stuff he did know and study the stuff he didn't know, and then he would take the test.
Dude, I got addicted to the grind during college. I just became like an uber nerd during college.
Yeah, you did.
Which I was an anti-nerd in high school.
Oh, you were the worst in high school. Absolutely atrocious.
But in college, I don't know. I just got addicted to the grind of college, and I would study like more than I needed to. Like Calc 3, yep. I would do the practice exam, and then I would go into the textbook after doing the practice. I would do the practice exam when he handed it out.
Oh, nice.
And then I would do like the textbook problems. And I did my Cook 3 textbook. I did all of the practice problems in the textbook, other than like a few per chapter that I was like, this is just stupid and dumb.
There
and
are
I don't
always
want to
those
do
questions. They are very difficult.
I mean, that's like a
very
good
difficult.
thing though that you got into school like that intensely.
Yeah,
Really.
and like I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Which
That's very fulfilling. I know there's a few times where I got into the rhythm, but never for like a whole year.
I still remember you talked about the George the Fifth, I think.
Third.
King George the Third. King George
Yeah.
the Third. That was so interesting listening. It was where me and Peter were doing partial differential equations, and John was just needed to study.
I was fully reading. I was finishing an entire novel within like a week. I was just
Nice.
cramming through this fantastic biography about George III. And I'm just like, whenever I found like something so cool, I would just peer over to Raj while we were both saying, be like, did you know that he was actually like very, very like grounded and sociable with all of the local farmers around him, because he was really into agriculture. So he had this
loved his
huge
kid.
estate, and like he like loved his fucking wife, all like, and his kids. He was such a huge family man. It was like really different monarch for his time, apparently.
So John, who is George III? When did you reign and where?
I don't remember.
Wait, George the Third was the
1776.
Yeah,
Yes,
we rebelled against that guy.
He was the king that lost America, and
Damn.
he was the king during the French Revolution, if I remember correctly. He had one of the longest reigns in British history. So it's kind of crazy, because if he reigned during the French Revolution, I mean, he was king for a very fucking long time. I think he was still technically king when Napoleon lost Waterloo. So that'd be past 1805.
Wow.
So that means that dude reigned at least from 1776, which I believe was the
He
early...
had a lot of losses in his time.
He did reign during Waterloo, which is one of the biggest triumphs
true.
in British history.
But they got shit on for a long time.
Yeah, the British not as much as the Austrians.
Okay, the Austrians deserve
Like
it.
we all saw the History Oversimplified video on Napoleon recently, and you can't get away from that video not thinking Austria just took a bunch of L's that entire time, basically.
My favorite thing is just thinking about
spanking him.
how but, like how scared they must have been of Napoleon to put him on that island in the literally so in the middle of nowhere with 2,000 troops, right?
Yeah, something like that.
2,000 dedicated, one dude on an island, middle of nowhere, 2,000 troops, and 2 war galleys that forever patrolled around that island until he died.
Marcus, do you remember their legendary strategy to defeating him during the Battle of Nations? Do you remember that strategy?
We run away.
We do not engage him when he shows up. We fight other people. I think they call it like the Trappenberg plan or something like that. That's actually what it is. It's just, you see Napoleon? Go away.
Yep. And it worked.
It did work, yeah. But of course, at that point, Napoleon's army was not the Grande Armée anymore.
How you beat him is you just don't beat him.
You don't fight him.
Yeah, until we can literally dogpile him.
Yep.
Yes. This is League of Legends. This gives me a lot of League of Legends flavor. How do we fight this 11-1 Camille? You don't fight her.
You pick off her team.
You run away.
Yeah. You pick off her team and then dogpile her. And I mean, you dogpile her hard or she's going to kill all of you.
You CC her to absolute hell with 4 different people all running their CCs and kill her.
You just keep her suppressed.
You have to. Because there's certain builds, if you're fed in a league, in which, and I kid you not, you will heal all your damage
Silas.
very, very quickly.
Silas, Mundo.
And consistently, too. So, if you don't either shut down their healing or stun them so they can't swing if they have, lifesteal or something, so they're healing off the damage, you gotta kill them fast and knock them out. CC them something. Just keep them frozen and just kill them with the whole gang.
Yes.
Learning more about history, especially Roman history, honestly has made my video gaming experience a lot better in every video game.
I feel that
just
so
because,
much.
Whenever in Mech Warrior, if their team splits, and I'm finally get them in the flank.
You're
oh yes, the Battle of Cannae.
Bro, we're about to Cannae them?
Yeah.
But that never works.
It works.
Hey, sometimes it works.
The one time one of my favorite and the very recent things that we did was when I went the wrong way and I went through a tunnel. I was like, all right, I'm separated from everyone. Guys, I'm in a tunnel. And it turns out it led right behind them. And
so he plays a big Chungus in the game. He plays one of the heaviest mechs in the entire game. And so he flanked their entire team with this big ass chungus, and I just gotta imagine they were like, "How the hell did he get back there?"
I didn't even realize I was doing it. I didn't even realize I was doing it. I turn the corner, I see 2 mediums and like a light and a heavy all firing, and I just go, I guess I just start shooting, and then I started shooting, and they went, "How is he here?" And
so his mech moves literally half the speed of pretty much any other mech
Yeah,
in
like
the
legit,
game.
he like I think consistently he's lagged behind us, like absolute crazy because he's so damn slow. He's just a bug, especially I'm a light mech, so I just am super squirrely running around with the absolute garbage weapons while this guy's running like those big Gatling rotary cannons or whatever, right?
It's so good.
So I come around the corner and they're surprised. I'm surprised. I just start shooting. They start shooting, but they can't kill me because I'm a big chunk.
So anyway, I just started blasting.
And then eventually it allowed the team to push through while they were trying to deal with me.
That was great.
It was fun.
There's this amazing meme in the tabletop for Warhammer 40k because there's an Imperial Guard general that used to have a special stratagem where he could hide a unit if it's in cover. So there's no specifications. So under those rule sets, you can hide anything on the map as long as they're in cover. So there was a running
in Russ?
Yeah, so you can hide. So there's a running meme that you can hide a Titan behind a rock or a bush because it's technically
in cover.
Nobody knows it's
Yeah,
there.
it's the stealth.
How do you hide in that game? Do you like take it off the board?
Garen.
What's up?
This is Garen in the bush.
Oh, the
Garen, big meaty guy. Or the Cho'Gath, like the big Cho'Gath fed choke. Like he's fed and eaten so many things, and then no, he's just in a bush. Can't see him. He's
Tiny
in a
little
bush.
bushwhacking. but yeah, a Titan for context, Marcus, is a continent spanning mech basically. That whose cannons are so devastating can basically kill anybody that's not inside of a building because it fires like the heat of the sun from a plasma cannon.
I love 40k, dude.
Yeah,
40k is
It's
over
so-
the top.
and like, oh my god, here's the best part. My favorite part about the Titans is there's a specific cast of like psionic people called Princeps that are the only people
Principate?
yes sir and that can that they mentally connect with the machine itself
The machine
to drive
spirit.
it. And for them it's even crazier because it's not just worshipping or driving it. Some of the more powerful Titans like the Warlord and stuff, they actually meld themselves into it like in a freaking tank of water. Or they're part of the machine, and like the machine's energy and emotions become their own.
Yeah. So if the person is not feeling it, they can legitimately like give up. If they start giving up, the Titan gives up and can't fight, and all of a sudden you can't use that Titan anymore ever. And it's like, and you have a quote from someone from Hellgate, I think it was, where it's like, "This is how Titans die when you fucking send them into random shit. You don't do this."
Yeah, like it's actually because if the driver's emotionally distraught, the Titan, like Raj said, is emotionally distraught.
Yes. And so you
That
had
seems
to,
like a good thing. The most emotionally distraught planet killer.
Literally,
That's,
like a Uber Gundam.
you had to get a Astartes captain to say, "Get the hell up, get up."
Yeah, like giving a mech a motivational speech actually works for the Titan.
It did. It was great.
nice.
He's like, "You promised me you would die in this city defending it," and she went, "You're right," and then she got up.
Got up. She got up.
He's like, "Look at me." just some space we took up someone. Look at me.
So when you hide a unit in Warhammer and the tabletop, do you take it off the board?
Yeah. So what would happen is, I think I haven't. This is an old rule, so I've just seen the memes. I don't actually know the specific rule set, but I could imagine is that prior to game starting, you just declare that something is hiding behind this piece of cover.
Wait.
And then you would have to say before the match started that this is my army, and you would have to show that you have a Warlord Titan. So like you can't be like, "Ha, surprise Warlord Titan" or something like that. Like you actually have
It's
to
like,
declare.
where did it go? It's behind this
They would be
pebble.
very interested. Like, okay, this is your army. There's no points here. What the hell?
Yeah, that like
Where's the rest of it?
somebody would have a stroke. It's like a 5,000 point. It's like a 16,000 point game. This guy only has like a handful of guardsmen and Castellan Creed. He's like, you would know something's up.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I know you got some.
But yeah, so what you would have to declare it, and then you would have to say that you're putting it in like reserve. So then they'd already know something's up. If you're putting a Warlord Titan in reserve, you should have that thing on the board shooting. So
How
that's
do you
the-
even put it on the board if it's the size of a continent?
Oh, like it's not like
To scale?
it's a damn big map. Like to even utilize a Warlord Titan or something big, So there's a point scaling structure in all of the 40k stuff. So like a guardsman with nothing, with literally like his basic rifle would be like maybe 3 points or something, just like one guy. So
That's
a warlord,
3 points. What's 1 point?
1 point. Oh man, I don't even know.
An orc grunt thing?
Like a grotling.
Yeah,
Maybe. Like I'm talking one dude though, because like you have the squad.
No, I'm talking one gruntling
Is there
one,
like a military police with a goddamn baton that just charges in?
I guarantee you, there's a 1 point somewhere. Like I think like what are they called? Oh gosh, there's like literal zombies in the game, and like they have the ability and shittiness of a zombie. And I can't pull up rotlings. I think that's what they're called, something like that. But anyway, that's probably 1 point. But yeah, a Warlord Titan would scale to that. So they would be an ungodly amount of points. And your match would have to, your like match map and mission setting would have to scale to whatever your point value is.
Mm-hmm.
So that Warlord Titan would be an insane amount of points. Because yes, it plays like a continent spanning war mech that will kill shit like crazy. So yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
And then I'm going to hide behind the Terminator, okay? I'm going to hide behind that.
If you're not a character, like a named character, you can't physically hide behind troops.
My name is Raj. I'm hiding behind the Terminator.
This is Raj.
Hello.
This is Raj the Force Captain. Like, there's this guy next to you.
Name all of your characters.
My name is Raj. I am hiding behind this Astartes captain. Why? So I don't die.
Yeah,
what is Astartes?
And Astartes is a space marine, and they are freaking massive. They are not even human anymore.
What do you mean by that? Are
they
they
mean
augmented
they get
Spartans?
They get implanted with 18 different organs.
Oh,
are.
gotcha.
They go through like intense
So
gene
they're like-
treatment.
Yeah,
They're
like
Spartans, but
biologically. Yeah,
They're just better.
manipulated.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
huge. They have like bulletproof. Just
They're
ridiculous shit.
like let's put it this way: they have 3 lungs, 2 hearts, I think. Their rib cage gets fused together, so there's no openings anymore. Their blood can now congeal way
So they can't
stronger.
like bend over.
No, they can.
It's the future.
It's the future. They can totally do it.
Sci-fi.
They can also
They have
metal.
flex bone. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
Oh no! So the flex tape guy comes out of
Phil
nowhere
Swift with a big old heart on.
He's just bro. Like Phil Swift comes out as like a space marine apothecary. Phil Swift here. We're about to.
I just chopped this boat in half with my cock.
I just made a space marine.
You know, you guys say that, but legitimately, the Primaris Marines legitimately have metal in their arms, like to help in their muscles to give it strengthening to punch.
We should probably explain Primaris.
They're Space Marines, but better. They're the new and improved Space Marines.
They're the second generation of
So
space
they're like
marines.
Spartans better twice.
They're like Astartes 2.
Yeah,
Oh my
they are
God.
Astartes. So yeah, there's the Spartan Mark 1s, and then you get Mark 2 with Master Chief and all them. This is Astartes 1 and Astartes Mark 2. They're freaking powerful.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Unless
they're
you want,
stupid.
before a crazy Warhammer fan comes out of nowhere, we know the Thunder Wars exist.
No, they don't. They've been purged.
Well, they existed during Unification.
The
Wars.
Emperor got
That
rid
would
of that
be-
information.
Would that be the proto Space Marines? If we were actually going to like the Space Marine Mark 1, 2, 3 and shit.
Look,
you
the
know?
reason we don't talk about the Thunder Warriors is because we don't want to get bleated by an Inquisitor or a friendly servitor.
The Custodes comes out of nowhere.
Just-
Yeah. I heard you were talking about the Thunder Wars. Anyway, that's Astartes. They're Space Marines.
I like in Warhammer, each like Mark II, Mark III, they get better over time, and the Spartans in Halo, they get worse with every
Well,
mark.
no. In Warhammer, they do get better, but they also get worse.
Mm.
Like, so if you look at their gear was like amazing and then got worse.
Mm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's now he's talking about the literal universe itself, where the Imperium of Man is way past their golden age.
It's been past their golden age for 10,000 years and it's falling apart.
Yeah, because there was an apocalyptic civil war.
The
And-
UNSC just got slightly more ethical. That's why the Spartans got worse, is because the UNSC was like, maybe this is a little too fucked
They
up.
weren't being genocided
We're still
anymore.
gonna be very fucked up. We're just gonna be a little bit less so.
So for reference, the big crusade, like in 30k, so Warhammer 40k happens in the 40,000th year. 30k was all about the Primarchs and like the purges. This was when humanity was at its highest, and they decided to attack everyone. And by that we mean Eldar, Dark Eldar, Orcs, Tyranid. Were Tyranids even a thing at that point?
I don't think so.
I don't think they were either. But is there anything more I'm missing? Taus weren't a thing
Tau
at that
wasn't
town.
a thing.
No.
Were
they weren't
orcs a thing?
Yeah, they
Orcs-
were. Orcs
orcs
were a
are
thing. They were a
attack
big thing.
orcs.
They killed a lot of orcs.
Orcs are actually
How can you kill an orc if they can shape reality itself?
They're very stupid.
they
Gotcha.
can still die, but they're almost impossible to purge
Yes.
because they're mushrooms that grow on the ground.
yes, they're not
mushrooms that literally dictate how reality works.
Well, yeah, they're psionically tied together. So yeah, that's the best part about orcs, right? Because that means everything about their culture and the way they fight is enhanced by themselves believing in it.
Their guns don't actually work or shoot. So if you pick up an orc weapon, it does not fire and is literally a piece of scrap. The reason it fires is because that orc thinks it fires.
And then the more that are concentrated that believe in that, further can enhance it.
Yes.
So the best part is Gaskell Unthraka. He is the prophet of Gork and Mork, which are the two gods.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like a legendary war boss. So then if more orcs believe he is the prophet of Gork and Mork and that he's the biggest and baddest war boss out there,
he is, in
he
fact.
will become the prophet of Gork and Mork.
So
and
they
be
could just get brought down by a really powerful propaganda campaign.
Yes, and they're very stupid. So if the Imperium of Man was that's probably how the Alpha Legion did attack. So there was one part where the Alpha Legion asked for help from their brother Primarchs and stuff, or like so Alpha Legion is a Astartes Legion. They were one of the original 20th Astartes Legion. And they asked for help to deal with an orc like Wa. It's literally called that. It's called a Wa.
And that's them incorrectly trying to say war.
Yes.
Wah. That's their crusades. Their
Beautiful.
religious crusades are called wah. Their guns are called shootas. Shootas. Their larger guns are called big shootas.
I feel like I remember that from good old Dawn of War.
And then their trucks is just truck with 2K. Shit like that.
Nice.
The chopper.
Red makes it go faster.
Yes, red makes it go faster.
The big
also,
claw.
purple is the sneakiest color. Why is that? Because have you seen a purple orc? This is why the Alpha Legion, the sneakiest of the Astartes Legions, screw Raven Guard, Alpha Legion is better. Before some nerd comes in and says anything. Wears purple armor. Because they're the sneakiest.
And does that actually work for them against the orcs?
They are actually the sneakiest legion, and they do the most BS, so it just works.
Nice.
Like, just works. In general. I would at least
love
think.
orcs.
It's stupid. So anyway, they were... the thing I'm talking about, they asked, so the Alpha Legion asked for help from their brother Space Marine Legions, and what was it? The Angels. Blood Angels. Yeah, Blood Angels. The Blood Angels answered.
Blood for the Blood God?
No, that's
shit. God damn it.
That's
I
the
hate
wrong
myself.
legion.
I give up.
That's Angron.
You should kill yourself.
I will never know 40k. You can explain it
Well,
to me
actually,
as much as you want. I'll never get it.
So here, do you actually just ask us like any general question about 40k real quick?
I feel like I've already asked a few. Who's the Emperor?
The Emperor of Mankind.
He is the Emperor of Mankind. There's a lot of theories about his origins, but basically he was some kind of hyper psionic
Wait,
being.
can I finish the thing I was talking about?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're right.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go for it. I was just trying to get out of the big tangents.
Blood Angels.
Yeah, go for
Okay,
it.
so the Blood Angels respond. And Alfarius being Alfarius, look him up. He's stupid. I love him. But he basically says, all right, have fun, guys. And the Alpha Legion entirely just goes into the orc unknown regions. And the entirety of the Blood Angels are just sitting there doing picket line, just shooting him down, going, what the hell is going on? And apparently the Alpha Legion scared them so much that they just started running. For whatever reason, no one knows how they did it. And eventually they just all ran into the random gun lines of the Blood Angels. It was like, what the hell did you guys do?
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
The space.
Spooked them.
Yeah, basically, you just spook the orcs, and they run. They stop believing, and then if they stop believing,
They all get scared.
They just like bombed them with pamphlets.
easily.
if they could read.
Are you trying to imply that? Listen, one orc.
The mushrooms can't read.
One orc needs to be able to read it, and then once he says it, then everybody else will hear him,
Exactly.
and then they all believe that.
Yes.
It only takes one half intelligent orc to take down the entire system.
No,
It's
there are
literally-
orcs called mech boys, and they are the engineers of like orc society. They are instinctively good at just tinkering shit together.
Can't they just tinker stuff together and then believe it works and then it will work?
That is how it works.
Sir. And because orcs believe mech boys can do that, it works.
It works, yes.
Nice.
Like they literally take shit together. And like there's a mech, the biggest. So remember those titans I was talking about earlier?
Mhm.
Orcs have their own titans. They're called like Stompas and Gargants. And
Nice.
and they when you see one of them, it's unfathomable how it functions. It's like a gigantic. It looks like something a kindergartner made, like a snowman mech. Basically, is what it looks like. It's fucking beautiful. And most of the orc ships are literally asteroids hooked up together, scrap metal.
So
Awesome.
what were the
Beautiful.
so if orcs
It's
are
so fucking
mushrooms,
good.
where did they come from? I'm glad you asked that, Marcus.
Nobody asked.
The Eldar
Where do
created
orcs come from?
the Eldar created them to fight the biggest war, like the war against
Wow.
the
Thank you
No,
very much.
the Necrons. It was the Necrons.
Yeah, the Necron tier.
So wait, they're the Flood?
Oh no, they're not the Flood. No.
That's the Tyranids.
They're metalloid zombies.
So
Yeah.
no, the Halo rings are very... Never mind. I'm off. I'm out of pocket.
Look, the Tyranids are the Flood. The Eldar are what the freaking whatever they're called in Protoss in StarCraft, except they're
they-
better than Protoss,
Eldar are ridiculous.
which Protoss could probably beat Space Marines.
So
down
Eldar,
easily.
like in Stellaris, the like the big guys, the ancient races.
They would kind of be like that, except they're not even. Except they that entire stagnant state would be gone because very briefly to talk about the Eldar, they were an ancient race. They're basically space elves. Long story short.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they for an extensively long period of time, they were the absolute dominant space power in the entire galaxy, controlled everything. They got to a point where they were so bored that everybody went into excess. So like absolute hedonism, so much hedonism that they gave birth to a god. They gave birth to the god of excess
Slanesh.
through their own hedonism, which caused
Nice.
the complete collapse of their entire society. The only Eldar left are either people that are so gone that they have fended off Slanesh by basically becoming worshippers of excess, or the ones that
Harlequins, the Laughing God worshippers.
Yep. And then other Eldar that just got the fuck out, that knew that shit was gonna happen and got out way before.
There's only a few
preppers.
Eldar left.
the legitimate,
the fucking
the
preppers.
literal doomsday preppers of Eldar society are the ones that survive. So like there is no like kind of like in Stellaris where there's the Fallen Empire, that
Yeah.
shit is gone. The Eldar
Gotcha.
don't have shit. They just have like there's a couple ships, there's like a city state, and then like a bunch of random wandering people are left
Yep.
of their entire society. But they all are like super
That is
smug.
like the Fallen Empires, though, because generally they only have one solar system.
That's true. But like they still have like a state functioning though, you know? Like it's still a country, it feels like.
Yeah.
And
I
then
guess.
for the Eldar, it's a bunch of roving bands that don't work together until recently. And what is it? What was I gonna tell you? Oh no. I forgot what I was gonna say. They're like ageless. So a lot of those people are excessively smug because they still remember
They
their...
fought in the War on Heaven, which makes all the shit that happens in 40K look like you take Primarchs and like how Primarchs are. So all the Space Marines come from something. They came from a Primarch, which is the created son of the God Emperor. They are absolute the pinnacle of what you can be as a human. They're the best. Like they're it. Like if you're a human, this is legit. You're the peak of what you can be is a Primarch.
Who Raj was talking about earlier, Alfarius.
He is a Primarch.
Is a Primarch.
And a Space Marine?
No,
No.
Space Marines
Oh.
come from Primarchs. They are
So
made.
There's tiers.
Okay.
You have Big Daddy Emperor.
Yep.
Who we haven't really explained yet. You might as well just know that he's Big Daddy Emperor.
Gotcha.
Below him are his sons, which are the Primarchs, which are not like biological sons. He created them,
Mhm.
and there's 13 of them, I think, except for the ones that
They're
got
20,
purged.
but there were 20. Two of them got purged. There were
Yeah.
18. But some of them are dead. Some of them are missing. Some of them are insane, and some of them are joined the chaos.
Yeah, and like those are the grand like poobahs, and then below them, ignoring custodies would be the Astartes.
No. We can do Custodes, then Astartes.
Yeah.
So the difference between them. So a human
bad.
is to an Astartes. Like you can there's a big difference between it. There's a bigger difference between a Primarch and a Space Marine than there is between a Space Marine and a regular human.
Yeah, like
Primarchs are insane.
Gotcha.
Yeah, basically.
Compared to the War on Heaven, Primarchs are they would at least be able to fight. But that's about it.
I don't know, man. The War in Heaven's nuts.
The War on Heaven is
Right,
stupid.
it's actually like God War.
It's like like the First Age
It's
Wars.
like Valhalla.
You know the First Age Wars in Lord of the Rings,
Not
where the
Valhalla.
elves are fighting Morgoth and
Yeah.
stuff in Lord
yeah,
of the
yeah,
Rings.
yeah.
It's basically that.
First
for-
stage, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically imagine the First Age
Or like
Wars.
Balrogs and shit.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
Glorfindel going 1v1 in
Yeah.
Gondolin and stuff. That 40K universe is the
Mhm.
War in Heaven.
So the Eldar remember. That's what
I
the
love that.
Eldar remember. They remember doing that. So they see all the shit that's happening in 40K, and they're just like, "You
kinda-
guys are nothing. Shut up. I'm
It's
not
kinda
dealing
like
with it."
elves in Lord of the Rings, then, where the elves that are around during the Third Age are kind of just like not even holding a candle to the elves that were around during the first stage.
Oh yeah.
Who would literally just like tussle with Balrogs one-on-one.
Didn't even Golfin duel Morgoth, a god, and then wound him or something?
I think so.
But were they the same elves?
He killed a Balrog by himself, like, and not just any Balrog. I forgot what the Balrog's name was, but it was like one of the biggest Balrogs. Like,
I don't believe any
the OG.
from the first age are still in the Middle Earth.
Yeah,
right?
that's the
think so.
difference. The Eldar did it. Those people that are still around, they were the ones who did that stuff. So they are still alive. They just don't care because they're like, we fought in it. We don't care.
Yeah, I believe it's very difficult for Eldar to reproduce or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something happened, and like it's impossible to have kids basically. So the Eldar that are alive are the Eldar from that time. So when they look at a human like a space marine, they literally call them monkey. But it's like but it's spelled in a different way. It's like Monkegh, something like that. It's like monkey, monkai. That's what they call humans, monkai.
Nice.
The only people they even kind of respect is Primarch, which there's only one at the moment. There's only Roboot Gilliman.
The Elven writing, the writing's different now because a whole bunch of stuff happened with the Eldar that I don't want to go into right now. Because
I don't even know it.
I know it, but there's no point to talk about it. I like talking about the core stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's the Eldar. A couple of the races. Orcs are still by far my favorite.
Orcs are great.
If I ever wanted to make a Xenos army, I would make orcs, like without a doubt. They are so hilarious. The lore is awesome, and like some of their models, like the Prophet Gaskul Onthraka, he has a new model, and it looks so good. He just looks like a beast.
Do they still have metal models ever?
Some factions are very old and still, I think, have metal.
Sisters of Battle.
Yeah, that's changing though a little bit because they actually very recently finally added new models. Finally, after fucking years.
Well, they don't like
plastic
women.
ones now.
Yeah, it's all plastic now. I should rephrase that. Predominantly, the large-scale cell, like the little model soldiers, for the most part, all the factions have plastic nowadays, except for like the really unique ones, like Death for Krieg. I think is still resin. For the really big shit, it's most of the time it's resin, and it's usually not something you buy in store. I
remember when I was younger, I would go to like a board game store, and they would have the plastic packs, but then they would also have single units that you would buy, and they would be metal.
Yeah,
and they were hanging.
Most of the times you don't see metal, even for
like named characters,
even for the boys.
Yeah.
I think Robo Gilman's plastic, so yeah,
he is, I believe.
It's
but I
may
may
sad.
be wrong. I don't know.
I guess they're probably just not making the sales to have metal anymore.
No, Gilliman deserves it. He deserves to be plastic. I have a bias
about Robo Gilman.
I have a.
He's another
big
Primarch,
bias.
if you're curious. He's a Primarch that came back, actually.
He is the most boring Primarch that ever was a Primarch, and least interesting.
The Raj bias is showing, I think.
He's not actually the most boring, but I like Alfarius, and compared to Alfarius, Robo Gilliman is.
Does Alfarius have a mustache?
No.
We don't know.
Alfarius can literally look like anything he wants, okay?
So he should have a mustache.
He could look like anything he wants to at any given time.
He could literally look like Mario if he wanted to.
He could legit look like anything.
Mario has a mustache.
There you go.
There we go. That's what I was going for.
He could look like a sun if he wanted to, okay? It's fine. It's just weird. Don't ask.
Alpha Legion is stupid.
Alpha Legion is not a Chaos Space Marine faction. We don't know what they are.
They're literally like a meme.
They're so stupid. I love them. Okay, so do we want to get to the actual question I have for this podcast, or do we want to continue talking about 40K?
I think we have a good intro. Go for it now.
All right. So I have random questions that I like to ask John about at random intervals. Sometimes at 3 a.m., sometimes at noon, sometimes at 5 in the afternoon.
Marcus,
and
do you get
for
these
Raj,
too?
3 a.m. is as like a normal time to be awake, and noon is kind of a weird time to be
Wait.
No. I wake up at 11. Shut up.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so it's not afternoon. Wait, Marcus, I have a quick question. Do you get this stuff too?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even I am privy.
No.
No. You don't get privy to his shower thoughts.
What I do with Marcus is different. I call him.
There we go.
And have discussions with him for 45 minutes.
True, but that's normally in the evening when it's a reasonable hour for a human to be functioning.
Yeah, I have to wait for it to be reasonable for you.
Yep.
You're really not considering my time and
my phone is always muted. So anyway, what did you ask John?
So I didn't ask him this question actually. The reason I brought it up is because I didn't ask him, but I wanted an answer. So.
Right.
For those of you who know Fire Emblem, and Three Houses, you'll know what's going on. So in Fire Emblem Three Houses, there's a lot of bullshit going on where technology has not advanced in 1,000 years. In a 1,000-year stretch, think of like the Steel Age with like steel plate continuing for 1,000 years.
Okay.
So that's the setting where this all takes place. There is magic. There is a goddess who did help. The goddess was killed in some way, shape, or form. And most of her daughters were too, but most people don't know about that. So the society that was built up was built around worshiping this goddess. And unbeknownst to most people, the person who was propagating that was one of her daughters. So she's immortal. Or quasi-immortal. She can be killed.
I got a question.
What's up?
Is there any other gods in this world?
Not that I know of.
But at least for this topic, the region that you're talking about all worship and believe that there is just this god to worship.
So how the society built up in this one continent is everyone worships this goddess. Every single person. Now, outside of the continent, they worship different things, but we don't care about that because we only care about this continent. The continent is split up into 3 different factions. It is the Adrestian Empire with Edelgard, who is best. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what argument anyone gives. Then you have the Holy Empire. I forget what the hell. Fargus?
Holy Roman Empire?
Yeah, I don't know. It's silly. And then you have a bunch of like a society that's made up of merchants who gained power and who formed like merchant families and really rich families.
Yes.
They wouldn't happen to be from Neimoidia?
No, unfortunately not. Not unfortunately. Fortunately not.
Where's my newt?
So, this is kind of the setup. Now most people worship the goddess because they know she exists. The church has a ton of power, a crap ton of power. It is also situated right in the middle of all the 3 continents. So it is in the central location. There's a bunch of powerful weapons that only people who have crests can use. And the religious thing that was propagated by the daughter was that people who are blessed by the goddess have crests and they can use these weapons. So the entire society of rulers is built on people who have crests. And so you keep having children until you have one that has a crest so they can be the new ruler. So the entire society is built off of loving these crests and doing it. And the weapons that they can use are like better than anything that they can.
What's a crest?
It's something in their blood that lets them wield those weapons and gives them some magical properties. Like some of them can be pretty strong, some of them can use magic better, and that's about all.
Can you have more than one crest?
If you surgically do it, and that can really screw you up and get you killed if you do.
Like if I got 2 crest bearers and selectively breeded them, could I get 2 crests?
No. From what I understand, no. It's artificially made.
It's just random. Oh.
It's artificially made. It's not random.
It's midichlorians.
Yes, basically. So, that's the society. The entire society believes in these crests and all this stuff. Your character turns out to house the goddess that was killed, although she doesn't know it because it's stupid and the goddess is pretty stupid. So my question is, if you join the Adrestian Empire, the Adrestian Empire doesn't like how the leader of it, Edelgard, does not like how society is built up. She doesn't like the idea of these crests, and there's reasons for it, but don't need to get into it. That's not the important thing. The important thing is she doesn't like it, so she rebels, and she takes her entire empire and basically declares war on the church. And by declaring war on the church, she declares war on the rest of the continent. So she goes to war with basically everyone. Your character eventually, before she does that, becomes like shown as someone who is what's it called? Like almost like a prophet, or as someone who is very, very blessed by the goddess. So you can use a weapon that no one else can use. You have a crest that the goddess's crest that no one else has and no one else can have. So you're basically seen as like the next coming of the goddess, or like her emissary or something. So my question for John and Marcus is, what would happen if when Edelgard rebels, you go with her? And I know what happens in the game. I get that. But what would happen in like a more realistic scenario, and how would it play out? So you have 2 people really going. You have the Archbishop, who has a ton of power and controls all the religious things, and has for like 1,000 years, but no one knows that. But she's the religious figurehead. And then you have you, who is the quote-unquote next coming of the goddess. and you go against her now. So you're on board with the rebellion. You're in the Empire fighting against the church and everyone else. How would the common people see that? What would people choose? How would that complicate things and make things messy? Because it would be real easy if you joined with the church girl. It'd make things real easy. Church girl, second coming, aces. It'd make it easy. That's my question. How would that change things? What would happen?
Probably depends on your PR campaign.
It's there's a lot of
if you just like
about
create
public.
to a populist movement, it'd be like very easy to get most of the common people on your side.
Yeah, because the thing is anybody that would be backing you would be going against the established church.
Yes.
So the main question would be, is the same thing with the Protestant Reformation. It's lightning in a bottle. Is there actual grievances against the church?
There's always
Not
grievances
on-
against the church.
They don't see it, but there's a lot of people and quite a few nobles who are not happy with how society is built up because because the whole point is to get these
Not
crests.
nobles though. Like I don't really care about the nobles.
Well, nobles are still good because then that means you have
That's
established
true.
power that
That's
can
true.
back you.
All I know, you don't actually, like, okay, most of the characters in the game are nobles or kids of nobles. There's, like, very few actual, like, people from the
I mean,
peasantry
who
background.
cares about the filthy peasants though? Let's be honest.
Well, when you tie it to something that is this religious in a state in which there's only one faith,
Mhm.
then
and the nobles are seen as God-given power,
yeah,
legitimate.
like the nobles are a caste of people that have special powers. That
Yeah,
have
but
the
if you can
crest.
call that into question, and then the nobles obviously have a ton of privileges, you can figure out stuff to create issues, even if there aren't issues
Of
for the
course.
populace. You can create issues that they didn't even think that they had, but they sure know they have them now.
Yeah, because like
And you can create popular support and create a populist revolution
absolutely
pretty easily. And then it doesn't matter if the nobles are with you because they'll just eat the nobles. And in case of the French Revolution, it's literal.
Eat the
Well,
nobles.
it might not be as easy because remember those nobles have those powerful weapons.
There's a lot of peasants.
There's a lot of things that where you can blow up a significant portion of a like in the
lot of
cutscene. The
Guerrilla
one dude
warfare, bro.
the one dude
Wait,
legitimately
Raj, what did they do with Napoleon? They ran
Right.
away.
but like you would have to do that because in one of the cutscenes you see the dude throw a sword down and create like 100-yard radius circle of just an explosion, and it's just like okay.
How many times can you do that?
He did it 4 times in that one cutscene in half a second or a second, so I'd say multiple times.
Would you say that he burned himself out doing those
No,
times?
he then engaged someone in full-on one-on-one combat. So no, I would not say.
It was just one guy.
Oh,
You know.
here's a good question. So the person that's rebelling, the
Yes.
lady, what are her reasons? Does she have good reasons?
I actually do think she has good reasons, and the if you're gonna do something like that and do like what she wants to do at such a quick scale, you're gonna have to do a lot of bullshit and do a lot of things. So I do think she has legit reasons. Whether she's right or not is inconsequential, but she does have legit
What are
reasons.
her reasons, though?
So she was experimented on by parts of her family that rebelled against the rest of the empire and decided that they wanted to create in her a person who could peerlessly what's it called, lead the empire and do it. So they when you were talking about those 2 crests, they implanted in her a second crest. She had a lot of siblings, remember, because they had to, they make a lot of children to find one with a crest. So she did have her own minor crest. The rest of her siblings all died from them trying to do it. So she's the only survivor of all of her siblings. And so she's really pissed off at this idea of a society built on these crests and this obsession with crests. And
Can people outside of noble families get crests? And are they elevated then to a noble family?
they can get crests, but it's so very unlikely because it's passed through bloodlines. So no, not really. Now normal people can be elevated to nobility without a crest, but like
I
But
think
they're
if
not
there's an
Jedi.
opportunity, it would be very easy in that situation to get, at the very least, a populist movement to
Yeah, from
rebel.
there you would because
It'd be very difficult to get the nobles to rebel.
yeah,
you do get
it's an
quite a few-
anti-establishment movement, is what it is.
Yeah.
the Empress.
well,
And
no, they
and
keep
if-
power.
the nobles.
Yeah, it's not that she's going.
She's going against crest people. The
Yeah.
system around crests.
I'm stupid. Ignore what I just said for the past like 30 seconds, because I'm thinking of like she did get a few like of those nobles, like quite a few of them on her side, and they do go back to leading their respective like places.
Yeah.
But she does change a lot of stuff, so I'm just stupid. Just ignore me.
If
Ignore
the,
me.
If the entire noble structure is centered around people who have crests.
Yeah, and she's getting rid of that.
And
Yeah,
she's going against crests. The only way she can do that is by being
Like, that's
anti-establishment.
their power base.
yeah. She is.
She's getting rid of the status
so-
quo.
Yeah,
the
she-
only
she
nobles,
absolutely is. Yeah.
the only you need to have the tides start turning, and the nobles would be like, maybe if I jump off this boat early, I'll get a better deal, and then you'd start getting nobles.
Or nobles
But-
that just are getting fucked over by something else, maybe like the church or something.
Yeah,
A lot of just grievances.
then you have a very incompetent church.
That is actually what is happening. You have an incompetent church because the
Mm.
person has been ruling for 1,000 years and doesn't really understand modern grievances. Anyone who's done that ruled for multiple centuries. But
What's
just,
these Twitter wars?
yeah, they wouldn't get it. But then again,
Mhm.
she also intentionally doesn't let society progress
Oh.
because she's scared of people because they kind of killed her mom. So that she's scared of them, doesn't want them to progress, and completely hampers them.
Who does?
The goddess, the
Oh.
the archbishop, the
Hmm.
daughter of the goddess.
Gotcha.
The establishment faction.
The establishment. So she's
Yeah.
already doing that, and then you have Edelgard, who's been plotting this for a while, sowing discord between various different church factions and other things, and having them attack and try and view the church as weaker. So she spends a lot of the first part of the game sowing discord and trying to make the church not.
So
seen.
she's literally a Protestant Reformation led by Jesus.
Well, you don't have to side with her.
But that's what
But
she kind
in
of
this
is, though.
case-
In this
Yeah.
case, I am siding with her because Edelgard.
It definitely would work.
Yeah.
Okay.
You probably wouldn't get a ton of nobles, I wouldn't expect, because they probably have a decent deal.
But I got the nobles' kids.
And, well, you get nobles that... Early on, you might be able to get nobles that, like, can understand the moral, like, reason that Edelgard is doing what she's doing, and are more, like, actually have a moral compass.
Yeah.
You'd probably get those nobles. And then later on, you'd start getting nobles that are, like, trying to just get a good deal.
One of the biggest things for nobles is lesser houses, because the major houses, of course, benefit for the most part, I should say, because we don't know the details, from supporting the status quo. But plenty of minor houses can support. Plenty.
Actually, that's a great point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of them, they may not have crests, or they may have crests that are very weak and
Yeah.
are hard to pass
And
on.
so then for them, it becomes a self-interest issue where they can see the benefits of backing an empress that still needs some kind of power base to usurp the established order of major noble houses. And it's easy temporary allies against major houses because they probably have grievances against their own lords and stuff like that.
Yes.
That
Can
clearly
crests die out? Like if you don't pass it on to your kids and you die and you had the
Oh,
crest.
if you were the last one to have a crest and you don't pass it on, it's gone.
Yeah. So if there's like you said that weaker crests are harder to pass on.
I said that
Or-
as time goes on, it's harder to pass on crests. So
Yeah.
1,000 years has passed. That means that it takes a lot of kids to maybe even sometimes have one crest bearer.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be very scary for those families.
Like you get to this point where you have like 36 babies and the mom is just like, Jesus Christ.
it could
You just
easily
have to start having harems, honestly, at that point.
Sometimes they do.
Actually, though.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they do.
It could easily become a situation where the crest wielders want to maintain their family and want to save their family's lives as opposed to trying to fight something this threatening. Because it could get to a point where it's just the writing's on the wall. It's over. Maybe some of the major crest wielders get taken out or something like that
Yep.
by
Well,
Jesus and Moses both fighting this massive rebellion against the church.
the Edelgard has two crests, so she's seen as very like weird. But I don't know how many people know about that. You are very known to have been blessed by a goddess, and thirdly, most of the kids went to the school with you, and you can recruit them. So in various playthroughs, you can actually have all of the kids who come from major houses and all of their families and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, you now have recruited all the kids. So even if the families don't come, the kids came.
Seems pretty over. Seems pretty GG to me, honestly.
Yeah. I definitely...
The only way they could win is if they got a MacGuffin of their own, basically.
Also, like, if people are actually pretty pious,
They
Very
are. They're
conservative.
very pious.
Like,
then
it-
maybe if you can convince them that you are, in fact, Jesus, the second coming
mean,
of the
if I remember
goddess, then they're
correctly,
going to jump on board, too.
From what Raj told me,
But-
the main character is confirmed by the church to be as blessed as he or she actually is.
She's given a weapon by the church that no one has been.
Well,
to
what
wield.
I'm saying is that like they can believe in the goddess, but also be like, but I really like how things are going right
This
now,
is
and
true.
Yes,
I'll
this is
go
true.
against the goddess, and because that's not gonna take my crest away if I go against the goddess.
Or like there could be plenty.
so
Absolutely.
if I
easy
can
for-
beat the goddess and retain all of my rights and properties, that seems like a good deal.
it's super easy for plenty
Yeah.
of people to be sussed out by the church and simply not believe that this person is the emissary of the god either. Like they could believe that the church is corrupt as hell and that their connection with the goddess is dog shit, and that their own personal connection is easily what's more important or what like their community believes in, and just easily support the church just because they don't want Edelgard to destroy everything.
And honestly, I think either way that the that given the situation, either side that Jesus joins, there's gonna definitely be some changes coming up with because of
Yes.
what Edelgard does.
Yes, there
'Cause,
are.
like,
yeah,
Even without Jesus, you're gonna have a popular revolution under those circumstances eventually.
It's
I-
just
and-
go for
and
it.
Even if you can win a war and beat the popular revolution, if you just deplete your population enough, you're gonna have problems.
I
You're
love
gonna
how
need to give in
Marcus-
eventually.
is able to find this out and understand this without ever having to play the game and know that something is going to change because someone did that.
Well, yeah,
Mm.
it's bound to happen if you just have a crazy amount of magical individuals that are suppressing a populist revolt. What the fuck? Like it's
Gonna boil
it's
over,
gonna be over.
eventually.
yeah, like it's like if you just had a whole bunch of Jedi lords just force crushing planets because the entire population has rebelled against the Jedi
And
Order.
You can't kill them all, and if you do kill them all, even if you can kill them all, then you don't really have a country
Your
anymore because you
entire-
killed them all.
Your entire government structure becomes rule through oppression.
You have
And
no
there's only so
farmers.
many times you can shoot an entire machine gun round and drive over tanks over people
Mhm.
until it's actually just not a country anymore. It's
Yep.
just a roving band of terrorists keeping a bunch of like slaves in bound.
Yep.
It will regress to that point eventually.
So it is logically
If nothing
speaking
changes.
that that a lot of people would follow her, or that a lot of the peasants would follow her, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
pre-
and
pretty
levies
clear.
too, like
Yeah.
just soldiers. Like even if the nobility didn't come over, the nobility might lose a lot of their army.
Yeah.
You know?
Lose their authority.
Yeah.
Because now you have somebody that is powerful that is threatening something that is like a real serious threat to the established order, and something that most likely has a good amount of popular support, or a great amount if Jesus shows up.
Yep.
Because Edelgard is Bay, and I'm going with her.
Because if you got
Screw
somebody
the church.
that's apparent, that's pretty clearly assigned as the emissary of the goddess, who has relics that has never been wielded before, who has a crest which you say is already 1 in a billion chance to get.
It was
and
it was
it's-
wielded by one person. The relic was wielded by one person, and no one can get this crest. The reason that your character gets it is because your mom is a homunculus created by the daughter of the goddess over and over to house that crest, and your mother happened to bang your dad.
And
So
now,
bad.
So now you have this crest,
Mm.
but you're like half homunculus,
and now Jesus is born.
and now Jesus.
That's where Jesus came.
Yeah.
That's where Jesus
And all of a
comes
sudden,
from.
he wields out his relic that's never really before and says,
And it's
One
basically-
person did. One person did. The
Yeah.
dude I said blew up a bunch of stuff.
"Yeah."
That was the thing he was
And
using.
he just wields it up and goes, "I support Edelgard.
She.
I support Edelgard."
I mean, it's basically like King Arthur if he was a nobody. Wasn't King Arthur actually like
He was
a
just
prince before,
I think-
even before Excalibur?
I don't know a lot of Arthurian legend. I know there are some legends that he was a king, but and then they kind of changed it to like a rags to riches legend.
But it's basically like if King Arthur pulled the goddamn sword out of the stone, and then the archbishop was like, "Yeah, this guy's legit," and then he like led a Protestant revolution. Like
Yeah.
it's probably going to go
this
somewhere.
is a great segue.
Yeah.
What is the can we talk about the Protestant Revolution? Because I don't know much about it, and I have no
You know
idea.
anything about the Protestant Reformation?
Almost not. I knew some guy nailed some things to a